So I just recently bought MGS5 for the second time, this time on PC, and I've fallen in love with its gameplay all over again. In previous installments of the series, the gameplay was alright, but the main star of the show was the story. Without the story, the gameplay wouldn't have much point. In The Phantom Pain, however, the story is pretty good, but not what Metal Gear Solid fans have come to expect. The gameplay, though, is superb and can stand on its own 2 feet. It's very reminiscent of Far Cry 3 in that you will first want to recon the area and make a plan of attack, then panic as everything that could possibly go wrong goes wrong. A major part of the game is the player freedom. The player is given an objective, which might be to extract an important target and then exfiltrate the mission area. Get the guy, then leave. The guy is probably in one of the many outposts, and it's up to the player to decide the best course of action. The outposts can be approached from almost any angle imaginable. Maybe you go in guns blazing, setting off every alarm the enemy has, or maybe you go in quiet, remaining undetected. These options, of course, have about a million other choices in between for the player to make. Pretty much every option is as equally viable as any other. This is a first in the Metal Gear Solid series. In the earlier games, it was mostly about stealth. Detection was a failure state. Sure, you could run away and wait about 100 years for the enemies to give up, but running in with a rocket launcher on horseback wasn't a way to make progress. In MGS5, detection is not a failure state, but simply another variable the player must deal with. It's the first game in the series where I didn't immediately want to reload every time I made a mistake and got spotted, but instead I found myself rolling with the punches and adapting my plans on the fly, which is fun and exciting, even if it is annoying to have your perfect stealth plans ruined by a passing guard. You see, MGS5 gives players complex ways to solve simple problems. For example, say there's a guy guarding a door you need to get through. What can you do? Well, you could throw an empty mag to lead him away from the door, you could knock on the wall to get him to come over to use CQC on him, you could run at him and throw him to the ground, you could shoot him with a tranquilizer, you could grab one of his allies and have them call him over, you could have D-Dog chew his face off, you could have Quiet shoot his face off, you could land a freaking tank on his head, you could call in for an airstrike on his exact location, or maybe you could just use another door. Lots of options, same outcome. This is brilliant. It allows for the player to adapt to any situation they could possibly get into in so many ways that no matter who you are, there's a playstyle suited to you. The game doesn't let you get settled into a comfortable nest though. The AI is always adapting to your playstyle. If you headshot too many people, the enemy will start to wear helmets. If you always do missions at night, the enemy will wear night vision goggles. If you use sleep grenades too often, the enemy will wear gas masks. These are just a few examples of how the AI reacts to the player's past actions, encouraging the player to use various strategies, making it hard for the game to become too repetitive. Many people have made the complaint that the open world is too big and empty and that there's never anything interesting to do in it, but I disagree. The open world is necessary to allow the player to approach objectives in whatever way they want. The fun part of the open world isn't meant to be the parts connecting the outposts and bases, but the outposts and bases themselves. The map isn't full of little icons for the player to press X on, nor does it have big towers which they have to climb up to reveal more of the map. The world gets straight to the fun part, which is doing missions and side ops. There's just enough space between the fun parts of the map to give the player a sense of realism and scale, as well as making the other modes of transportation, such as the box delivery system, tempting, even though they're riskier than simply using D-Horse or a car. In conclusion, Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain gives players infinite options to handle its various missions, and it is certainly the best stealth game I've ever played. Even if the story or setting doesn't interest you, MGS5 is a must-have for both veterans of the series and newbies to the stealth genre. It's too bad that we'll never see another Metal Gear game again. And this crap doesn't count. Anyways, my name is Jabik, and may we meet again.